We are starting. This is the Buckeye Patrons Pulse podcast. I'm Margaret Hanrell, the Legislative Director of the Ohio State Grange, and I have a guest with me. Unfortunately, Sue could not be with us today, but we have Jenny Camper with us. Hello, Jenny.
Good afternoon, Margaret. It's good to be here.
Good, good. You want to tell a little bit about yourself first?
Sure. Well, I'm happy to be here and speaking to folks with the Ohio State Grange, and love the opportunity to talk about a few things that we're working on. I'm Jenny Camper, and I have a firm called Lessick and Camper Communications. We are entering our 19th year of business as a public affairs-based communications firm in Ohio. So we work with many clients on public relations and communications need, and typically we work on public policies and work around the State House and work with government affairs folks, and that's our sweet spot as a firm. And then just a little bit about myself. I live in Fairfield County. I have a family farm there in the Canal Winchester Pickerington area that my husband and I have actually just moved back to. We're the sixth generation of my family to own this farm. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah, we love it. Love the country, and there's always something to do. Right now, it's summertime, so mowing takes up a lot of time. But we have barns and things we're fixing up, and it's just a lot of fun. So happy to be back out in the country.
That's great. And just a little side note, congratulations on your anniversary. I saw that on Facebook.
Oh, thank you. Yes, my husband and I have celebrated 35 years together.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So anyhow, you've done some work for the Ohio State Grange for us, and you're continually doing work for us. Let's start getting into some of that.
Sure.
I know there's some things going on with the federal government, and you want to explain some of the things that we've accomplished over there.
Sure. So we work with Grange. The Ohio State Grange has a great tradition of just giving attention to public policy and caring about what goes on at the state and federal level and local level, and getting involved and trying to advocate for public policies that make sense for agriculture and make sense for agribusiness and for your members.
Yes.
And so that's where I think we intersect with our firm and Ohio State Grange, because you've been supportive of some of the public policies and things that we're working on that particularly have to do with health care and seniors' access to health care, particularly seniors' access to prescription medicines and other treatments in the healthcare world. So just recently, one of the things we've been working on is the Inflation Reduction Act that just passed in Congress, and
yay!
Yeah, and one of the big focus points of that was addressing climate change, and there was a lot of opinions about how it's going to accomplish that. But another part of it addressed prescription drugs and addressing the high costs of prescription medicines. Right. And we kind of think there's some good and some bad in what happened with the Inflation Reduction Act on that front. Certainly the $2,000 cap on prescription drug copays for seniors in Part D is good. The $35 cap on insulin, also a good thing. Right. We are, though, going to continue to work on a couple of things. First of all, expanding that copay cap idea to include other chronic illnesses. Right. Insulin is, I think, certainly fine, and that impacts a lot of people who depend on insulin. But we're also going to advocate for caps on things like asthma medication, hypertension, some of those other kinds of chronic illnesses where people have to take medicine to maintain their best health.
Right. It surprises me that they didn't put that kind of across the board type thing instead of specific diseases.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that really surprised me when it didn't pass that way.
Right. So that's going to be continued work and opportunity, I think, for some in the healthcare world to advocate for that. In fact, right now I'm circulating a letter that we want to send to our congressional delegation about just advocating for that, expanding that idea
Right.
of a copay cap to other chronic conditions.
So listeners out there can still contact their representatives or their senators in regards to this this cap and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We always encourage folks, and I know the Grangers are great at this, as far as contacting your member of Congress, contacting our senators, and just let them know that it's wonderful that they're trying to address prescription drug pricing, and if we can do so across the board and look at a cap on all chronic conditions, that's a great that would be great for a lot more people.
Right. We definitely appreciate that. I know a lot of people that take insulin, and so I know they're very thankful, but there are a lot of people, like you said, that have other chronic diseases that are paying out their nose on their medicines and stuff.
Right. I think the other part that we're going to push for more kind of mitigation to this Inflation Reduction Act is looking at across the board reforms to the drug supply chain. So the Inflation Reduction Act kind of went after drug manufacturers and is imposing some price controls and things on drug manufacturers. It would, I think, go a lot farther if we looked at prescription benefit managers, health plans, some of the practices of the other players, particularly the PBM middlemen that are in the drug supply chain. Senator Brown, Senator Portman, many of our members of Congress have been pushing for prescription benefit manager reform for months now, for years. And that was not included in the Inflation Reduction Act, and that was discouraging for some folks that have been working on this for a while. So that's going to be a continued effort, I think,